Hey, Maria, back with another video. Okay, it's 2:03 p.m. Okay, and I am like really a mess today. I am a total mess. I posted a video earlier today, and then I came back and made another video, which ended up me making two videos because I got upset and ended up stopping that video, then having to restart it all over again. And it was just it's just one of those days. Okay, so I'm not really feeling my best. I woke up in a very irritated mood, upset mood. And, I'm just a little frustrated today. And like I said, when you deal with this kind of target, trauma type regurgitation, it could happen at any time. Because I do know last night when I went to bed, I felt as though I was soothed, meaning like, I felt, comfortable, relaxed. I don't recall having anything too negative in my mind. Of course, this issue is always in my mind, but there's times where it's more, I can deal with it more. But I woke up this morning and I was just like enraged. Okay, and so if Donald Trump is watching this, pay a little bit more close attention because I'm going to be mentioning your name in just a few minutes. Please, Mr. Trump, Mr. President Trump, please, please, please. Anyway, I wanted to talk about my frustrations and this vision that I got in my mind about, I know I mentioned Rex Laverne before, and now I'm going to mention Rex Laverne's wife. Okay, now I don't know exactly how much involved she is in this whole issue, but I am going to point her out. Okay, because at this point I'm feeling major rage. I wake up, and I don't really have control over, when my mind's going to start regurgitating. This is a part of trauma release, unwinding. If people, I mean, I feel sometimes that I have to kind of educate people on things that relate to psychology, psychological effects, and the damages that it causes. Okay, because some people, they do things very thoughtlessly and they don't think about it. Their main goal is to accomplish something, which is to gain control over an individual. Okay, which is traumatizing because we all have our own likes, our own wants, our own needs, and our own desires, and our own reasons to exist in the first place. Meaning, I have to work. Okay, I'm 54 years old. Okay, so where am I going with this? Okay, so Rex Laverne wife. Okay, was so circulating in my mind. So I did some meditation, and I do feel as though she's in collaboration with like the whole Diana Ross thing. Okay, I know that I have been targeted and bullied relentlessly, like around the Murray Family Farms time, like around 2012, and then it's just been spiraling. And I did talk about this in my last newsletter about Rex Laverne, him being responsible for the huge human trafficking ring and everything else. Okay, so I am dealing with a lot of trauma. Okay, so let me kind of summarize what I was, yapping on about in the other videos that didn't get uploaded because I screwed up. Okay. Um, when it comes to human trafficking, one of the easy ways or one of the tools that are being used is through the use of employment ads, okay? And I tried to do some research and find a specific law, okay, that, I can use when it comes to, letting people know about posting fake job ads. What these fake job ads do are they lure people, specific targets in, okay? I had mentioned that, I seen a video about a girl who, one of her so called friends, who was probably just a perpetrator, asked for a copy of her resume. And she, of course, gave it to her friend, thinking that this girl was going to help her find a job. The next thing she knows, she's saying, job requisitions that are almost like word from word based on her resume. So, of course, this was the start of her entering into the targeted individual program where other people were encouraged to harass her, try to bring her in for interviews that really were meant to never ever go anywhere, or just for her to waste her time. Okay, because it's a lot of this sort of I guess the technical word that what these fake job ads are referred to are ghost ads. Okay, ghost employment ads or whatever. So it did not say I could. I'm using Find Law for my reference for my moral research pamphlet, and I looked to see if there was a specific law. Apparently, I cannot seem to find one. Okay, we all know there's laws against human trafficking. Okay, but it did say that if you find that you suspect, well, how can I say this? If it is a an actual scam, or you believe that it's a scam, then you could forward it in for criminal investigation. Okay, so it is kind of serious, but not so serious to where they're thinking that it's important for them to make a law about it. Okay, I'm basically trying to bring attention to this issue because it seems I'm bringing a lot of attention to the human trafficking issue in general. And I'm saying that from my experience, and apparently other targeted individuals' experience, that we're dealing with fake job ads. Okay, and not just that girl's video or mine. I had seen other target individuals talking about how they have wasted several hours, days, or whatever, weeks upon weeks, submitting resumes only to find nothing. Okay, and we all know that the targeted individuals are a huge problem. Human trafficking is a huge problem, and I do believe that these employment ads are like, a start of it. Okay, it's one of the tools that are being used to harass people. Okay, because if you have no intention of hiring somebody, or you think that it's their responsibility for them to make an effort to try to convert you to a religion or change your life, trying to enact menticide or whatever on an individual, then this is one of the tools that are being used. Okay, so I've seen, Indeed.com has been making, I think, powerful strides in trying to, be more inclusive. There are people who have visions of what they want their careers to look like. There are certain people who want to seek fulfillment in their career, which you're supposed to be this way. Okay, unfortunately, there's a lot of workplaces that are very what's the word for it, totalitarian, somewhere along those lines, where they are literally making people's lives miserable. Okay, there's people who feel very suicidal going to work. I think, when we talk about things like high blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes, I do believe a lot of this is job related. Okay, because a lot of people just don't know how to manage. And part of their bad managing skills, a lot of times, is putting fake job ads or participating in what we call human trafficking, or what a lot of people refer to as gang stalking, which I do believe are one and the same, really, when you really look at it. So, and I'm not somebody who doesn't believe in people practicing their religion. I think most people have always known that I am somebody who understands the importance of having a spirituality that resonates specifically with you. This is one of the reasons why some people are Lutheran, some people are Presbyterian, some people are Mormon, some people are so on and so forth. Okay, so I've always been open about it, but I've received absolutely no tolerance from a lot of these Christian organizations, which I do believe are behind a lot of these fake job ads. There's a lot of the idea of what they call dominion theology. I've done videos on this before, and if Mr. President Trump, if you have seen my newsletter, I did make reference to these two videos that I had made, dominion theology, and I did put the attachment in my newsletter. But this is the thing. There seems to be this sort of like covert war that a lot of quote unquote Christians are taking out on people that they feel are deviations from what they understand and how they choose to live their life, which they are more than welcome to live their life the way that they want to. There are some people, Christians that resort to things like bloodline targeting. Okay, and I think, I talked about, I don't know if I think you're familiar with my work, but anyway, I'm not going to put you on the spot, Mr. Trump. But I do think that the thing is that some people enact these sort of things. Okay, it's one thing for them to want to walk around feeling smug because they might want to believe themselves to be superior, but they're enacting these sort of things out through employment. Okay, and employment is important. Okay, we all know that if we do not have jobs, we don't survive, and this is one of the reasons why this is considered genocide. Okay, now, like I said, I think Indeed.com has been making incredible strides when it comes to showing being inclusive and showing individuals who seriously do take their career seriously, along with their characteristics, and taking all of this into consideration when they're trying to enhance the enjoyment of their career. Yes, there is everything is right about wanting to enjoy your career. It's a no-brainer, okay? But we do have these people who have a very warped mindset, okay? That they want to have some form of domination. They want to, incite fear, intimidation. They're micromanagers. They don't really know how to manage, okay? But what they do like to do, they like to bully, okay? And they do have this sense of superiority and entitlement. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why they like to play these games. It's literally like Christians versus the heathens, is what it's basically like, okay? So they have these covert operations such as fake job ads, human trafficking, blacklisting list where they're, telling certain organizations to, eliminate this particular candidate because she's not one of quote unquote us, okay? Suddenly, Christianity is all collective now. That includes Mormons, Catholics, blah, 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 all the way down the line, okay? Because we're talking about hypocrites, okay? So my thing is that I do believe that Rex Laverne, of course, was someone who is fronting this entire organization, along with his dark-skinned Mexican wife, okay? And I've already went over this whole joke. It's funny to me, I hope it doesn't offend anybody because obviously I have dark skin myself. It's the point of that he's the shittiest Nazi that ever existed. Okay, so anyway, the thing is that I understand that there's a lot of brainwashing that goes on, and when it comes to employers, taking jabs at certain individuals, or citing out certain individuals for harassment. Okay, and this is what is going on. Okay, so Indeed.com is making improvements when it talks about being inclusive, and really targeting and hopefully focusing in on people who do take their careers seriously, who do understand their own personality types and choose to present themselves to employers. This is the best method to go, I believe, if you're looking for true fulfillment in your employment. Okay, but when it comes to employment ads in general, okay, this stuff needs to get cleaned up because I do believe that people are using this as a tool for human trafficking. So there's got to be some way that there's some sort of follow up, some sort of oath or something that people are going to sign and agree, or something, or some sort of regulation in place, right? Where we can make sure that these jobs are indeed jobs. Because a lot of these, like I talked about me working for some of these jobs, and these jobs were actually set up for employment mills, meaning like you're here at this job because for a specific reason and for a specific time, whether that be to convert me to a religion, sack me up, or match me up with some guy that I wouldn't be interested in, or whatever. Okay, so just like that, a lot of these jobs these job listings are employment, are listed are for employment real purposes or fraudulent purposes because they have no real intention, and this is wasting a lot of people's time. Okay, as a matter of fact, as I was looking for this law, I saw some other things. A bunch of things came up in the search engine, and they were talking about a lot of people here in California are trying to see if we can do something about the over influx of fake job app listings, because a lot of job seekers are feeling harassed, and we're already tired. We're already depressed, demoralized, freaked out, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and we feel the intensity every time we have to look for a job. Okay, so I'm please asking that you do something to fix this. When it comes to Rex Laverne's wife, I do believe that she was a part of this. Okay, I do believe that she was a part of it because um, you know, she was in close proximity to him. And I also understand that when it comes to my Ko-fi and my Patreon account, I get the intuitive message, okay, that those have been tampered with, and I do believe that she probably divvied up the money with somebody else, okay, or I'm suspecting. And if I get confirmation of something else, I would be the first person to correct this, okay. But I am a victim of human trafficking, and I know that because of these sort of illegal operations, they will go to things like law enforcement or whatever, and there's a crooked law enforcement representative that might be in that building who is actually covertly working for these people. This is how this whole thing works. This is the function and the inner working of how human trafficking works. Okay, and so I'm trying very hard to figure out, all thinking the entire process through as how these operations work. I will be putting more about this into the moral reset. Okay, and I have days where I literally am not able to focus. My brain is spinning out of control. Why? Because I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. My son just recently lost his job after all of this, right? After all of this, he ends up losing his job, right? And then how does that make me feel? After, I know that I was right. I have every right to express my fears, my frustrations. And what I get a hunch of is why he got terminated from his job is because his boss didn't like the fact that I went shopping, or I went to the dollar store, or whatever, or I was wearing something. They don't like what I wear. They don't like, what I buy. If I buy a pencil case or buy an extra eraser or a cute color, so these petty shit, okay. But maybe these sort of things are against their religion. So basically, and I honestly do think that it was racially motivated. This is another reason why I think it's so hilariously funny that I personally think his Rex wife is maybe 2 shades lighter than me, so I think the whole thing is actually really kind of funny. But his dark skinned Mexican wife is probably a part of that. Okay, whether she's divvying up the money or whatever, I don't know what it is. Whether she's touched my money or not, she has done enough. Okay, her and her husband has caused enough problems. And I do believe that they are responsible for the human trafficking ring that was, the undercurrent of what became something extremely explosive. Okay, so I'm thinking about how to improve life in general for people, okay? And I do believe this issue of employment ads needs to be looked at, you know what I mean, as well as, uh, the dual affiliations and stuff like that. I will tell you that I have been very traumatized by this, okay? And it does affect my sleep. It does affect my mood. It makes me very sad a lot of times for no reason. Like sadness will just come over me. The depression is it's too much, okay? Um, yeah, so I do get the intuitive message that, the Christian influence, meaning like people are being warned about this, okay? But like, every day it seems like, I'm coming up with more things to think about. And maybe, things are getting better outside. But see, I'm stuck in my house, okay? And which is not a good thing, okay? Which is allowing mental illness to fester, meaning like, I am completely sane, okay? I'm completely sane. But it gives me the opportunity to stay in the house, to think about more stuff, for my brain to regurgitate stuff. If I had more activity in my life, I wouldn't be as bad. I'm not saying I would be 100% cured, but I wouldn't be as bad, okay? So these people have, like, done things to me that has created more problems. Why? Okay, like I had mentioned my son, okay? I love my son to death, okay? But like I said, and we're always here for each other if we need a helping hand. But I don't believe the reason why he moved in here was because it was an unfortunate situation. I believe it was orchestrated by these particular people. And why? Because they don't have any sense of morality. They don't. Okay. This is one of the reasons why it was okay for Diana Ross to have my oldest sister, right, try to compete against me. This is one of the reasons why, she, as my mother, does not see anything wrong with her, public harassing me. Also, she doesn't see anything wrong with taking over my career or trying to make an attempt to take over my career or try to siphon me or follow me on social media or blacklist me or try to tell other people not to talk to me or whatever crazy stuff that goes through her head. Okay. This is why she doesn't, because she does not understand the sanctity of a family. Okay. So since these people have absolutely no morals, they really need to stay away from people. They should be far away from people. Now, where that's where Diana Ross to me seems immoral. Now, where this other, the dark-skinned Mexican woman, Rex's wife, why she seems immoral is because, she knew good and well that she had no right to cause any problems. And I personally think that she made my son's boss terminate him because I was still wearing and acting and living my life as I chose to live. Okay, and she felt as though I had some sort of obligation to listen to her. I don't have any obligation to listen to her. Rex Laverne had such a fascination with the whole apparition thing that blew everything up, right? That he started getting delusional, thinking that he had some sort of say so as to how I lived my life, like he was managing, like he was my business manager or something. Okay, I never signed any contracts with that loser. Okay, so then now that he's not here, she thinks that she's going to sit here and take over. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm going to highlight this dark-skinned Mexican bitch, and I really seriously want this whole issue to end. And I also want this issue out in the open. Now, I do understand and get the intuitive message that it is out in the open, meaning like, it's on, I get this message or that it's in like newsreels, okay? It's like in newsreels, okay? And, I understand that the high technology and skills that people have nowadays, they can manipulate that, so I never see it. You know what I mean? I mean, I notice like if I look at an ad for orange juice, okay, like OC orange juice or something, and I'll click on it. The next thing you know, it's all these OC orange juice things or things that relate to it or products that are similar or whatever. And I understand that they have really sophisticated ways of targeting people and letting people see what they want to see, okay, and preventing you from saying what they don't want you to see. So I don't see these reels, but I get this feeling that they do, and I understand. I get a lot of people communicating with me in a week on or wanting to friend me on Facebook within a week's time, and I don't even know these people. Okay, so obviously I understand that people know who I am, okay, and the chances why they know me who I am because the whole thing about me being a clone has been probably well known before I even knew it, obviously. And the fact that what made it such an interesting story is the fact that I'm Diana Ross's daughter, okay, which I just recently found that out. So anyway, my life has been a living hell, okay, and it continues to be this way. And I'm trying to eliminate any more shots at me. And what I mean by that is, like my son just recently lost his job, which tells me, okay, that after me talking about Rex Laverne the first time, like in in February, okay? And I was making videos that were, I felt I needed to do, and I just wanted to forget it and go on with my life. And then the very fact that he ended up terminating my son makes me feel as though he still wanted to keep the issue open. Like his boss still wanted to keep the argument going. Okay, so I'm asking, when this is what I'm talking about. Are we dealing with alien races? Are we dealing with people who just cannot, for the sake of their soul, control themselves? Can they not respect other people's spaces, or do they sit there and stay up at night worrying and tossing and turning about how other ways that they can, like, terrorize people? It's like the issue is over. My son's not responsible for what I do. You know what I mean? These people, some of these business owners here in the city of Bakersfield, they really do not know how to run a business. In fact, what they end up doing is they end up traumatizing people. And a lot of these companies that I work for are nothing more to me than employment mills, meaning that, because it's a setup and they're not taking my career seriously, which I do take my career seriously. Okay. What else do I want to say? But yes, this is where it starts. It starts off with, the fake job ads. Okay. And, Christianity is something that, needs to stay out of the work that needs to stay out of the work sector. That's not to say that Christians shouldn't have a job. Of course they should. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is this operation that's going on, where they're only letting Christian people have jobs. There's genocide going on in the country. Okay. And we need to stop what's going on. Okay. That's what it is. It's genocide. Okay. Christians are launching war on people for the fun of it, and they're doing it through employment. So I'm letting you know. Is there something else I want to say? Yes, I do. I want to tell you that when it comes to your little friendship with Elon Musk, yes, everybody knows that Maria has a crush on Elon Musk. Everybody knows that. I'm sure I made a video about it and everything. And I do understand, because I've dealt with manipulative people. People like to manipulate other people's relationships. I do not want my relationship with Elon Musk manipulated in any way. I would like it to formulate in a natural way, and if it does or it doesn't, okay? So I don't want people telling him when he can talk, communicate, and I want him to understand this. These people have no right to tell you when and what time you do something. Do not let people dehumanize you. You are not their slave, okay? Because this is what Rex's dark-skinned wife was sitting here trying to do to me. You know what I mean? And I know that in the past I've dealt with some of these so-called Christian women. I remember I made a comment about me going into the Ford place. I had a job interview. I think it was a Ford place anyway. Anyway, the lady at the front desk just like, oh, we're steeped in the word. I'm so tired of these people. She probably never cracked the book, the Bible open, not one day in her life, okay? But she knows how to repeat, the jargon and the stuff that she's been instructed to say, okay? And I'm tired of these ignorant people. I'm tired of these, immoral, I'm going to call them immoral people, and people who are bloodthirsty, just like my son's ex-boss. He knew the issue was closed, okay? I was trying to heal, and he just wanted to take another jab. So my thing is, I'm a little concerned about some of these aliens, such as Rex. And I'm talking about aliens because, I know not all white people are like that, okay? But there are some white people, such as Rex Verne, who think that anything that you do for your own good, for your own well-being, somehow is what do you call it, a means or me striking up some sort of competition. Like, they don't understand that there's different personality types. They don't understand that some people are artistic and some people enjoy these sort of things. And so they don't, because maybe there's some sort of missing element to a certain group of people's brain. And I seriously, this is how I am seriously trying to find out what the hell is wrong with these people. So yes, I'm taking it down. I'm bringing down the alien issue, okay? Because some of these people are just not normal. They're just not normal. And I'm going to include that freak monster who just fired my son, as well as the dark-skinned Mexican. And the reason why I'm mentioning the dark-skinned Mexican is like, what the hell is wrong with you? She might have what they call what is that called? Stockholm syndrome or something along those lines. This man abused this woman, okay? And she's sitting here like, carrying on and acting on like she's a part of the little game. No, I'm tired of her, okay? I'm so freaking tired of her. I'm tired of all these mentally ill people, okay? So please, Mr. President, could you help me a little bit? I would greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, I'm going to wrap this video up and try to rest. I've just been like spinning out of control, okay? I will say, yes, my diet is important to me. Why? Because there are times when I haven't eaten like a formal lunch today. All I had was like, a couple things to snack on. Okay. But I do feel like, eating things like beans and stuff can shut my brain down at times. You know what I mean? And I know that they were pissed off. They were sitting here monitoring what I buy. This sort of stuff is absolutely insane. Okay. I don't believe in taking pharmaceuticals. I would never take a pharmaceutical. This is my choice. So my choice of taking care of my overall health is by doing it through food. You know what I mean? And so because, I take care of their little activation goes off in these aliens' mind. Oh my gosh, I can't let her do that. I can't let her do that. I gotta do something. I gotta do something. So then his moronic boss decides to fire me. I mean, to fire my son. Okay, I fucking hate this dude. Sorry, I don't need to cuss in front of the president. I really don't. But I'm so tired. I can't remake this video again. I can't do it one more time. Please excuse me, okay, but I am very frustrated, okay, and I do feel as though this issue has been going on for such a very, very long time that these people have pushed me to the wall, okay, and I'm tired of it. So I am doing my best to, try to fight against, human trafficking by informing people, and this is what the only method I can do. You know what I mean? It's important that people understand not only the process of what human trafficking is, but they also need to know how it starts and how it thrives. Okay, and it thrives through things like fake job ads. It thrives through things like dual association, as well as, unfortunately, I hate to say, through companies. Okay, companies that may be either pretending or they might actually have operations to, like, for example, it might be a merchandise company. We're a merchandise company, and yeah, they might sell merchandise, okay, but they also might smuggle people. They also might do this, just like in certain, like, organizations that claim to be protectors of people, like domestic shelters or homeless shelters or these sort of things. These people also might be, and I'm not saying they are or they're not. I'm just saying is, where are these things hiding? If I was a human trafficker, okay, I'm going to think about, I would be doing it in plain sight, just like these people did. They were trafficking me in plain sight. You know what I mean? They're telling people one thing, but actually doing another. So if I got to think like a trafficker. If I wanted to get the job done, this is what I would be doing. I would be doing this through my businesses and perhaps maybe pretending to be helping, but actually abating these people. Okay, you got to think like, what would their step be? You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to do my part. Okay. As for Rex Laverne's wife, what's going on in here in Bakersfield? I need to have it shut down. It needs to shut down. So I'm asking you, Mr. President, could you help me out, please? Okay. As far as Indeed.com and other job, uh, posting sites, it's important. This is important. Unless, of course, you want to continue on with the human trafficking. Okay. But this is, I understand, I'm understanding how it works. And it's important, you know what I mean, for the future of humanity, even though I don't really care about myself being a part of the future of humanity. But until I die, I feel as well I would like to do good work. And, one thing that affects a lot of people is human trafficking. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you have a great day, Mr. President. Take care. Bye-bye.